Hello, beautiful divine souls. Welcome back to Goddess of Rebirth or Goddess Unleashed, the podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, someone that I'm honored to interview today, Juan Carlos Duran. It is my privilege to have this conversation with you. Um, Juan is a purpose coach, and he's going to tell us all about what that means and what was the journey that brought him to where he is. Juan Carlos, bienvenido. Welcome.
Mm,
How are you?
Thank you, Monica, for having me. It's my privilege to be today here in your podcast. I love to see people creating a great impact in other people's life, and I believe that what you are doing is very meaningful. So, thank you for what you are doing, and thank you for having me today here.
Thank you. I received that. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about you. Who is Juan Carlos and what does it mean to be a purpose coach?
So, yes, I am Juan Carlos from Colombia. I've been in China for the last 17 years. So basically, yeah, I grew up in this beautiful country that now I call home. My journey to end up being here today, talking to you as a purpose coach, actually started when I was very young. When I was very young, I had the difficulties and like problems, drinking problems, and I was drinking obsessively in a very destructive way for many years. and and I think I always share this because I think it was so important in my life and really transformed my life. It almost destroyed my life, but also gave me this beautiful opportunity to understand kind of like my mission or my purpose or what is my passion, right? And so yeah, I since I was very child, I had drinking problems after going to rehab when I was, for the first time, when I was 17 years old. I started to understand that service and elevating others people's life was very important for me, and I found a lot of, you know, f- I think that addictions in general make the people that are addicts or alcoholics uh, always have like this kind of like sense of uselessness, and I felt very useless for many years of my life, even though okay, I was studying or I was in China or I did all these things. I was always feeling very useless. And then through my recovery, I started to help other alcoholics and addicts to stay sober, and I started to really to connect and to see the beauty of serving others in my life. And through that, um, I mean, I was in rehab when I was very young. Then I relapsed, and then again I came to to be sober. And in both times, for me, like serving others was fundamental, not just for staying sober myself, but also it gave me a lot of fulfillment, right? Fulfillment that I was not able and that I was never able to find in external things, right? As a human, I I always I thought that happiness was coming from external sources, right? So I think as humans sometimes we get attached to money, to prestige, to status, right? To material things, and like, oh, I look so good today, I am happy. Yeah, or I this month I earned so much money, I'm happy. But in reality, yes, money is important, and I'm not saying that money doesn't contribute to happiness, because it does. But actually, there are studies that they have done that it goes like this. But in the United States, they did a research, and they said that after $70,000 a year, like the happiness doesn't go up so much, right? So it starts to be like this. So I really believe that in order to be happiness, like happiness is within, and happiness is how we can connect to what is important to us with our values. with how we can contribute to a better world, right? So I believe that that is kind of like our purpose in life. The ultimate purpose is kind of like how we can connect with what is important to us, right? And how we can use that to elevate others people's life. And that's why I'm very grateful with all the experience that I had with addiction, because that kind of like started to give me glimpse of the importance of serving others.
Thank you so much for sharing that part of your journey. Was there ever a moment where you recognized the difference between experiencing that happiness that you were receiving from an external source, and the moment when you recognize this fulfills me inside, this is
Mm,
take directing me to my purpose because I feel it here. It's not like, like the fleeting moments of happiness, but it's like fulfillment.
yeah. I think let's, for example, use alcohol. Uh, when I was drinking, I was being like chemically, I was getting happy, right? Okay, sometimes I was getting sad and I was crying, right? It's normal sometimes depending on your mood. But in general, like alcohol was making me feel in a way that I was expecting to feel, right? I was kind of like drinking in order to avoid my reality, or kind of like feeling kind of like a relief, right? So when I stopped drinking, right, and I started to feel a fulfillment, was in those moments when I was able to serve others, right? This is kind of like how it started to me, like kind of like to that I started to understand and to have like a glimpse of the power of being there for others, right? So like it started to make me really, really fulfilled. As other people also helped me, I was there always, and still I'm there to help others without any expectation.
Do you think that living your purpose requires full presence rather than, like we were speaking about, okay, if I'm drinking, or if I'm working too much, or if I'm trying to escape reality playing video games, whatever it is, whatever thing that I'm trying to, like get out of my body, do you feel like living your purpose and finding that fulfillment requires presence in your body, embodiment?
Of course, I think it's very important to be present, because if we are present, we are aware, right? And we start to be aware of what are the things that are important for us, right? When we are in a state of presence, we start to ask ourselves questions. Think about it. We are always asking ourselves, there's always this inner voice in us, right? And we always ask ourselves questions. And there is a coach very famous, that is Tony Robbins, that says that the quality of your life highly depends on the quality of the questions that you ask yourself, right? And if we are in a state of presence, of awareness, the quality of the questions that I will do might be something that are good for me, right? It's like, okay, what are my values? I am living a life that are aligned with my values. Is this job that I am doing aligned with what truly matters to me? I am working in this place just for the money, or because I am so happy every day when I go to work with whatever is that I am doing, right? So the presence is fundamental, right? And in this age and in this time of history, is very easy to get lost, right? For example, even though I talk about presence and all this, I struggle a lot with the phone, for example, right? And sometimes it generates a little bit of like friction between, for example, me and my partner, because I get so absorbed in working, right, in the phone and all this, and it's like kind of like, okay, come back, right? So in this era, it's very easy to get lost. So we have alcohol, we have like you were mentioning, like gaming, right? Gaming is a big, big problem, right? Internet, sometimes, how many, I think all of us have binge watched a series for how many times, and sometimes it's good to do it. I'm not saying, oh, this is bad, never do it. No, but it has to be balanced, right? Is this what I'm doing serving my purpose? Is doing what I'm doing is serving, like is contributing to what is important to me, right? Sometimes it's good to rest, and sometimes it's good just to, okay, do whatever, like, watch TV or this kind of thing. But if it is a constant, that kind of actions, what is taking us out of reality, right? And we might be avoiding our feelings. We might be avoiding things that we don't want to face. So I completely believe that in order to live or to connect with what matters to us, with our values, with our passions, with our gift, we need to be awake. I really like what Thich Nhat Hanh was saying. He was used to say that being enlightened doesn't mean to be always, like completely awake all the time. Like sometimes when we are fully present, that is a moment that we are awakened, that we are enlightened because we are fully present. And I really believe in that. And I believe that through our days, we can find those moments to connect to the now. And in the now, we are able to find a lot of answers.
I completely agree with that. And I do feel like many people find, or many of us, we feel unfulfilled. We feel that we don't know what our purpose is precisely because we're never present. Like all the options, entertainment, education, work, everything takes us out of presence, out of the body to the external world, but nothing brings us back home. And so it's so easy to get lost, like you mentioned before. What, in your opinion, are some practical tips that people can use, follow, practice to find their purpose in this time and age?
Something very practical, start to meditate. I think that is something that we all should start to do, because that practice enhances the quality of our presence in the moment, right? So the more that we are able to, like mindfulness is a state of mind, right? Mindfulness is not like sitting every time to meditate. No, mindfulness is a state of mind. And what it means is like we can be mindful of, aware of what is happening right now. So this is something very practical that I always kind of like encourage my clients, for example, always try to start to meditate, right? Because with this awareness is what I was sharing with you in the last question, is like we start to be aware of our inner dialogue. We start to be aware of our inner conflicts, right? We start to be aware of our emotions, right? And sometimes when we feel kind of like sadness or bored or kind of like an anxiety or stress, there are many ways that we use to distract ourselves from that feeling. So how we can start to come back, as you say, to home, right? And see what and observe without any judgment what is happening.
What is a purpose coach? How do you help in this regard now that we're having this conversation? How do you help people?
Okay. First, let me tell you what is my definition of purpose. All right. My definition of purpose is like how we are able to align our passions, right, with our gifts, with what move our heart, right? If we are able to align these three elements, we start to live more aligned with what is purpose, like our purpose. So think about it. Why awareness and why being present is so important? How you are able to know what are your passions? You need to have awareness of that. You need to start to explore. You need to go with curiosity through life and see what is what you like, right? There are people that they have a passion for like educating others. There are people that they have passion for sports. There are people, so how we start to be able to, with curiosity, to go out and start to engage with certain activities that allows us to have a better understanding of what we like, right? So this is the first part. What are our gifts? This is fundamental because we all have gifts, right? For example, for me, if I am coaching somebody, I am able to create a space, a safe space for the person that I am coaching, right? People trust me. with my presence. Is a gift. It's not, I don't need to make an effort. It's just something very natural that comes to me. It's like I am a tool of something higher of me, and like I'm able to do this, right? Another thing, people find my voice very calming. I didn't decide my voice, right? It's a gift that life gave it to me. So how I can use these gifts in order to contribute for a better society, for a better world, how I can elevate other people's life, like to be a tool, right? To help others to elevate their life. And what are the things that move our hearts, like what is my compassion to the world, right? So for example, what are those causes that maybe I have experienced in my life in the past, and I know that through my experience I can support others people's life, right? So for example, I help a lot of people that have addiction, not through my coaching. I do it that for like my own kind of like practice and recovery. But for example, something that I noticed, and this is something that I work a lot, is having a work that we actually enjoy. You know, Nowadays, millions, maybe billions, I don't know exact the number, but a lot of people in this world work just for a salary. And imagine if we go day by day, we sleep 8 hours, right? The norm 8 hours, 7 hours. We work 8 hours, and sometimes we bring work to home. So let's say we worked 8 to 10 hours, right? Let's be okay, and let's say you work 8 hours. This is a third part of your day, right? So if you don't enjoy, and if you're not able to connect your work with your passion, with what moves you, right? That you can use your gifts in your work, is going to be a very challenging life, right? So why I became a purpose coach is because I fundamentally believe that we are here for something more than money. We are here for something more than happiness through external things. We are here to elevate others' life, right? And my mission as a purpose coach is to empower people to find true joy, right? To find joy through what is important to them. Life is not just mere existence and living in autopilot and waking up and like brushing your teeth, eating, washing yourself, and then go to work and then come back and then come back to watch TV. Life is not that. Life is how through our activities we can impact other people's lives. How through our activities we are fully fulfilled, right? Because that is the thing, that if we don't follow this kind of equation, that like I didn't invent it, I just added few things that I've learned, but this come from the ikigai, right? If we're not able to fulfill that, like, we won't be fulfilled. And yeah, maybe you have a lot of money, maybe you have a lot of stability, but you're not happy. And I believe that we are here to be happy, to be grateful. And of course there are difficult moments, like nobody says that life is perfect and that everything is a path of flowers, but at least how we can face those moments. I always say to a lot of people, challenges, you can take them to grow or to destroy yourself or to destroy what you are building, right? So how are you using the challenges that life gives you? And sometimes if we choose destroying ourselves, that can also be part of finding more answers, right? In my case, when I almost destroyed my life drinking, because of that experience, I ended up in rehab, and this opened a lot of beautiful things in my life. The problem is that sometimes we can die out of that, right? So it can happen, right? I was very close to die many, many, many times. I was in accidents. I was in many crazy situations, right? I had friends that because of this problem they died. So that's why, like, I think, like, for me it's important to use all these skills that life gave me. For me it's important, like, to use the passions that I have for life to help others, to elevate their life, and to live more aligned with their purpose, to live more aligned with what it matters for them, right? Money is beautiful. Money is a beautiful tool, and, like, I wish that we all have a lot of money. But if our intention of getting money is to get a status, if our intention of getting money is to show that I can get this car and this house, it's kind of like an empty life, right? So you see a lot of very famous people, they have everything and they commit suicide, right? So any one of us can face these kind of situations, right? I think any one of us, through our history, if we really take a time to connect and to see and to observe without any judgment what happened in the past, we all have had very difficult situations. We all have had we all have engaged in destructive habits or not healthy habits. It's very normal, right? So again, we come back to the awareness, why awareness is important. So basically, I am a purpose coach because I believe that I have, like, these gifts that life gave me, that I can support others' journey to be more present, to be more aware, to explore what they truly like in their life, and to explore how we can all create an impact.
Mm. As you were sharing this experience, something that came to me was that many people out there, you said millions, billions, we don't know the numbers, but I think that many people out there, they don't really know what's the difference between working and enjoying, like fully feeling energized and passionate about what they're doing, and simply working. Like I can speak about my parents, for example, like they had to work, and there was never an option of like, does this actually make you feel fulfilled? Does it
Mm.
satisfy you like inside, or is it only providing for your family? And many people nowadays, I do feel like they still don't know what it means, what it feels like. What's the difference between working and feeling that passion, that energy? Your body will feel the difference, like you finish a day of helping people, like the job that you do, and man, you are like, whoa, I feel good. I feel energized. And yes, my body's tired because I've been working all day, but I feel good. Whereas on the other hand, people who are, like doing whatever kind of job that it's completely disconnected from their gifts, their abilities, their joy, their passion, their purpose, we feel drained. We're completely out of energy. We're like, we just want to play on the phone, watch a movie, forget that we are alive, and kind of like disconnect again. So knowing that difference is so important. I do hope that people in the audience who have never experienced that kind of passion, that kind of energy, that kind of fulfillment can give themselves the chance of at least once in their life do something that really, really ignites your soul, that brings you back that fire inside of you, that
Mhm.
will, yeah, that will create that impact that you were speaking about in the world.
Yeah. And you asked me about practical steps, right? And my first answer was like meditation and awareness. The other practical steps is very simple. Put yourself out and see what you enjoy, you know? Maybe you don't know what are your passions. Maybe you are clueless. Beautiful. You have a way of exploration that will allow you to go out to meet people, and okay, maybe you realize, oh my God, I love to cook. I really like to cook, but I don't think you will pay me for if you come to a restaurant of mine, But I love to cook because it really, like, gives me the opportunity to relax, to connect. I love the colors, I love the smells, but I wouldn't be a chef, like, so I know that I have my passion is not just helping people. I have another passions, right? but what is the one that like is more makes me feel more alive, you know? You were talking about like, yeah, sometimes we get so lost and like we don't know what to do, and we are so lost in our phone, like scrolling. I've been there. You know, when I finished my university, I had 6 months. I was my plans of the day literally was to watch series the whole day, and at night I was going out with my friends. I was feeling so empty, you know, and that is the thing, that we we feel that emptiness, but sometimes what we do is just we start to numb, and we start to avoid it, right? But the reality is that it will always come out, right? So another like very practical thing to do: put yourself out, go to different kind of like book clubs, go to different kind of networking, go to the gym, go to start to explore different things out of your comfort zone. Because for example, that I was very shy, I am very shy, and I'm introvert. So for me, going thinking to go to an event, oh my god, it's like I need to share with people, I need to talk to people, you know. Is difficult. I need to, it requires my energy, right? So sometimes, of course, we need to push ourselves. So I will really encourage, if you are listening today this podcast, get out there, man, and like you will be surprised, right? You will be surprised because maybe you get like glimpses of like, wow, this is very cool, man. And then you start to very little by little to start to feel alive, you know? For example, I always encourage my clients, look for something that you like and make a thriving business out of your passions, you know? But the truth is that sometimes people, they don't have like, they say, oh, we know I have a family, I cannot do that. Beautiful. You don't have to jump right away, or maybe never, but start to do things that at least makes you feel alive. Because one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, life is short. And this is very cliche, right? But I am already 36 years old and the time flew, you know? Everything and life, especially, there's a lot of instability in around the world. And look what happened with COVID, right? All of a sudden, life changed for the world. So how we can bring more aliveness and how we can start to enjoy moment to moment, right? And it doesn't mean that we all need to do the same. That is the beauty. We all have our unique skills. We all have our unique ways to contribute to humanity, you know? There are people that works in AI. I don't have idea about AI. Maybe I use ChatGPT, that's all. You know? But these people, these super brilliant people, they have a very powerful way to impact people's lives. But as humans, sometimes we use all these technologies is like to destroy, right? Or just for the benefit. So that's why it's very important, you know, like to connect within, because within and deep inside of us, we're always good.
I also think that when you're connected to your heart, to your purpose, to your soul, then you're kind of looking for tools, or you will use these tools in a more empowering way rather than in a destructive way, like you were saying. And we were talking about this before we started recording, but we're talking about how in my experience and perception, sometimes people try to build a box so small for their purpose that 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 kind of like limits their options. And so an example that came to my mind as you were speaking is, you said, I really like to cook, but I will never, make this my work. Like I will not make, I don't know, I will not become a chef. I will not cook for you, sell you my food. Like I just enjoy it, but I will not fully invest my life into that. However, I feel like sometimes that's kind of like where we put ourselves into like, well, this is the only option. Either I become a chef or I open a restaurant. What if you open up, and I'm not talking about you directly, but like anyone, what if you open your perspective and you say, well, I don't have to. What if I just write my recipes and I write a cookbook sometime in the future, like what if I leave all the recipes there that I'm really, really good at, and then my children somehow they figure it out and they kind of like make it a legacy for the family. Like your impact in the world goes beyond the limits that society sometimes has put. Like this is the only way that you can fulfill your passion,
Yeah.
succeed in the world. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, when you were talking that, like the first thing that came to my mind is how, like, society, our own families, right? Like our parents, let's start by our parents, they have certain beliefs, right? So they believe that the traditional way of living, you go out, you grow up, you go to a university, you study a career that is good in that moment of history, right? Let's say now is accountant, lawyer, whatever it is, right? Because that career will allow you to have a good future, a good job, right? So then you got a good job, you get a good job, and you meet the love of your life. So then you get like a huge in some countries people start to get in debt when they study, right? So they have like already the debt of when they study. For example, it happens a lot in the United States. It happens sometimes in Colombia as well. And okay, let's say you don't have that problem, but then okay, you get a huge debt to get your own house, right? And you get married, you have kids, and you have a dog. I don't know if in your country you have like this bank commercial that is like that, right? So society put into us like this is the way, this is the purpose of the life. If you do this and if you arrive to this point, you will feel fulfilled. And what happens is that the people that are lucky, they arrive there and they're like, oh my God, I'm not happy. This is not the path that I chose. It's the path that my parents or that society taught me that it was going to be good. And then we are already 45 or 50, right? We have a lot of responsibility with our kids. And then it's too late to change, right? I cannot leave this job. I cannot leave this company that I created, whatever the situation it is, right? So it is very complex. Is very, very complex. So I believe that the more, like, the earliest that we start to explore, right, is is the best for us. However, we all need to expect resistance. I remember the first time that I told my father I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to open my own consultancy company in China. But are you crazy? One, you speak Chinese, you speak English, right? You have done business already in China. Any multinational, right? That any multinational can hire you, right? And I always, every time that I go back to Colombia, there are Chinese companies that they offer me jobs, and I'm like, I don't want. Yeah, it can bring a lot of stability, but I don't want. So when I opened my own consultancy, my all my family, they were against that idea, right? And they were like, you are going to fail. Of course, I understand. They wanted to protect me from what they believe it was not correct. And it's not correct for them, and it's not the way that they live. I respect that. But we all have choices. And in life, we all have different ways to fulfill our life, right? And this is the fact how we are going to take the risk to go out, to put ourselves out and start to explore what is the things that truly fulfill our heart. What are the things that truly matter to us?
I also feel like when you are pursuing your life's passion, what really, really brings you fulfillment, then these resistance and the obstacles and the challenges, you will see them more as opportunities. You will kind of like say, you know what, this is not going to stop me because I know where I'm heading and I really, 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 my heart is on it. And so I'm going to figure it out. Whereas the other way, when we were speaking at the beginning, when you're just working for the money, whatever challenge comes your way, you're defeated. You're like, no, you know what? Because there's no passion, there is no fire, there's nothing that is actually pushing you off to
Mm.
keep pursuing that dream. So that's kind of like another difference that I can perceive right now between the people who are going for what they feel is their purpose and the people that we're not.
Um, yeah, and you said a beautiful word, dreams. And I think we have give up in our dreams, you know. When we are kids, we are always full of dreams, and then like society, the school system, like the family, start to pull us down, right? And the truth is, like, if what are your dreams? What is your wildest dreams? And who said that they are not possible, right? If they come from the heart, if they come from the soul, right? Why not? I don't know who said this, but I've heard it a couple of times, and I always share it with my clients and when in my programs. Take care of your purpose, and your purpose will take care of you. You know, if you do something that is aligned with who you truly are, if your intentions are good, right, your purpose will protect you. It doesn't mean that you won't fail. Failure is part of the path. You know, it doesn't mean that I open this business and I will become millionaire right away. No, failure, challenges, difficulties will be always part, right, of life and entrepreneurial life, or following the career that you love. It will always be there. But exactly what you say, when there's like that why, and when the why is so powerful, right, there's there's nothing that can stop us, right? And one of the things, I work a lot with coaches as well, and some of my clients, they are coaches or aspiring coaches. And and if you know, like, I love to motivate people to make good impact in the world, right? And this is my mission now, like how to empower them to believe in themselves in order to create impacts in others' lives, right?
Tell me a little bit about this program that you're creating that is going to help coaches. What is it? How are you going to help coaches that are already in business, doing business? Tell me a little bit more about that.
All right. So everything started because I have a program that is called Purpose in the Art of Living, right? So basically, the invitation of this program is like to support professionals to have a career that is more aligned with their passions, right? Some of them, they want to create their own business. Some of them, they want to maybe transition to a job that is more aligned with what they like. So life life is very beautiful and very wise. They started to bring a lot of coaches as clients because they've seen my work, right, and they've seen like the things that I've done, and basically they ask me like, okay, how I can do this, right? Because of course the first thing, of the first challenge that entrepreneurs or coaches can face is the mindset, the self-doubt, right? It's like, oof, I will not be able to do this, right? So basically that program is like, okay, it's like a program that is 6 steps, and is divided in 3 phases. The first phase is like understanding where are you standing, right? So this program is divided in 3 phases, right? Phase number one is be aware where are you right now, right? Understand where are you standing, and with this awareness, that's where awareness comes again, right? Awareness and presence, and understanding where you are and where you want to go. understanding if what you are doing is something that really fulfills your heart, or if what are your intentions of the job that you are doing right now, or what are your intentions of becoming a coach, right? Are you going to be a coach just because it's very trendy right now, or are you going to be coach because you really want to impact people's life, right? So with this awareness, we start to work, and we also start to be aware what are the things that are holding us back, right? It can be our self-doubt, it can be our fears, it can be our own habits, right? Our own unhealthy habits. So we start to explore all this, and then the second phase is like letting go of. So we are aware already of the things that are holding us back. So we start to work in how we can start to let go of all those things that are not like contributing, in living more alive, more aligned with our purpose, with our passions, right? So we check the how to let go of the limiting beliefs. We start to be aware of the narrative, right? And this doesn't mean that after you do this program, you will never have a limiting belief. No, but you will have tools that will allow you to work on them when they arise, right? And then like limiting beliefs or the mindset, right? The habits, right? As we were sharing at the beginning, we are in days that is very easy to get like to cling to unhealthy habits, right? Scrolling, drinking, overeating, right? It has never been so easy in life to get unhealthy food and delicious, by the way, to your house in 20 minutes, right? So what are the things, right, that we are doing in behaviors, and how we can start to um, create and build behaviors that are beneficial for our lives, right? The more energy we have, the more we can serve. The more like focus that we are, the more that we can support others, right? And all these elements are important. And the last is basically like, okay, the last phase is being open to new opportunities. How we can start to have the courage to get out of our comfort zone. How we can start to have the courage to take the actions of the action plan that we are going to design and start to take to make it like to to put it into practice, right? So all this program and all these things that I'm telling you is because I want to empower people, right, to live a life that is more aligned with what is important, with what matters to them, that we can create together an impact to elevate others people's life, right? So a lot of coaches started to look at me for me because they are like, oof, I don't know if I should do this. I am scared. I have a very stable job, right? And I'm very scared for the transition, you know? Like, what about if I take this risk and I fail, right? So this program is designed to that, to support people in general, but it started to by the wisdom of life, or like the whatever I need to fulfill in this life, to support people that want to become coaches. This brought an idea of creating a platform on where like we can support coaches, right? In order to deal with all these things, how they can learn to sell, how they can learn the branding, how they can learn to do the marketing, right? How they can trust in themselves and really connect with that why, like, I am here to serve, I'm here to improve your life. And with that energy, really create something beautiful for their clients, right? Also, with the understanding that for me, and I learned this in a bad way, because 2 years ago, due to COVID, I was really living in a mindset of scarcity, like, like, if these people take my client, it's bad, so I need to fight for the client, and I was in that mindset, and that broke a lot of relationships, business relationships that I had. But when I went back home and went back to Colombia, I started to listen to people that are very like they are experts in these topics, and they always said you have a beautiful and unique way to support others. And then it's like, that is true. The story that I'm telling you right now in this podcast is my own story, is unique. Of course, we are all humans, and of course, there are similarities, right? But the way that I experience that life is unique to me. The way that or the lessons that I learned and how I started to implement that and how I'm helping today others is unique to me. And this is not just me. We all have experiences. We all have passions. We all have knowledge that we can use in order to transform other people's life, to support them in their path in different things. My niche is purpose life. My niche is to support coaches in creating a business. My niche is to support coaches in creating the mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset that they need to create a business that is good for them, but also, most importantly, good to their clients, right? And I think like in this industry, like a lot of us, and it happened to me that for me it was very difficult to charge for my services, right? Because like I helped a lot of people, for example, in with the thing of alcoholism, and they always like really encourage us to do it from the heart without any expectation. And I was like, okay, but how I'm going to charge people for this? And I struggle a lot with that. But right now I understand that the more money that I have, right, the more I can invest, right, in helping others, right? The more bigger, the more impactful the ripple effect can be bigger, right? If I use it in the correct way. So right now we are creating a platform where we want to bring together different coaches to support them, right? To share our experience of what has worked with us, what has not worked with us, and how we can share all our resources with them, and how they also can share all the resources to all of us grow together. So we are building a digital platform in which like we will give a lot of tools to the coaches to make their life easier while creating their business.
That is so beautiful. And it's so necessary as well. Because we were speaking about this at the beginning, but we said when you become a coach, they teach you all about it, how you become a coach, except they don't teach you how to make a business out of that code,
Mhm.
out of that, yeah, service. And that is so important. So you're providing that service for coaches. You're also helping people to find their purpose, connect to their heart, live a more fulfilled life. And this is growing. It's a concept that you're still expanding on, because there's a lot more that you will still bring on, creating a platform and making it accessible for everybody around the world, because it's going to
Yeah.
be international, right? What is the last piece of advice that you have for the audience today?
Mm, be kind to yourself. I think uh, there's a lot of pressure in the daily life, right? We have all these stressors, right? Doesn't matter if you are doing what you love, doesn't matter if you are not doing what you love. There's always this constant stimulus, right? There are news, there's life happening. So how we can just take a pause to really be kind to ourselves and take care of ourselves, like the world needs you, right? So take care of yourself. And this is something that I need to say to myself a lot. Because sometimes I love so much what I do that is very difficult for me to stop working. So also that's why even though I do this work, it doesn't mean that I don't have self-doubt. It doesn't mean that I don't have limiting beliefs. It doesn't mean that sometimes I don't experience stress, anxiety. All these human experiences are still here. So my last advice is really be kind to yourself wherever you are, in whatever moment you are in the path of your life. Be kind and know that you are here for great things, and know that you are here not just to live a life to get your paycheck every month. Life goes beyond that. You are here to create impact. You are here to create a ripple effect. And like, we are the ones that need to create the change that we want to see in the world. It starts by us. Gandhi was used to say that, and I completely agree. So when we start to change our life, when we start to live a life aligned with our passions, with our values, with our purpose, we start to create ripple effect. And we start, if we live in an authentic way, other people will perceive it. And probably they will start to ask and to say to themselves, "Oof, man, I really like this guy, how they live, what I need to do." So we start to create a ripple effect. So be kind to yourself, believe in yourself. You have the capacity to create everything that you dream of. Stop like listening to those people that tell you you cannot do it. You can if you want but you are the one that needs to take the actions. You are the one that, if you don't know how to do it, go out and reach out for help. This is something fundamental that I've learned in my life. Reach out for help to your friends, to your family, to a coach, to a psychologist, or whatever it is. Reach out for help, because you cannot do it by yourself. No one is self-made. No one. Everybody, in any specific time of our life, we have always received help. So you told me just one advice and I gave you a lot. Sorry.
Very wise and very needed advice that I feel like it's gonna resonate with our audience. I also felt as you were speaking that we are magnetizing things. So it is very important for us to work with what we really want. What
Mhm.
do I really want in this life? And what are the things that I don't really want in this life? And you got to start working towards building up that life that you were saying, right? Making that impact, doing the things that really, really fulfill you inside. Otherwise, life's too short. Juan just said it. We have to live to our fullest potential because life
Yeah.
is too short. Yeah,
Yeah. And life is more beautiful when we do it, you know?
for sure.
Mhm.
Definitely. So, Juan, what you do is absolutely beautiful. I feel so grateful and so honored that you were sharing with us your wisdom, your experience. And I do really hope that people can get in contact with you and receive more of your medicine, because your presence is what attracts people, your experience, your talents, your gifts. So, really, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my privilege to be here.
To our listeners, if there was something in this conversation that resonated with you, leave us a comment, get in contact on social media, and tell us more about your experience. What are your thoughts about what we were sharing throughout this conversation? And if you want to learn more about what Juan does, how he helps people, and his upcoming coaching program, please look at the comments under this podcast. You will find links so that you can get in contact with him through social media. Are you poised for this journey? I am thrilled to have you in my circle, and I am buzzing with excitement to conjure up some magic together. Remember, in Goddess Unleashed, we don't just talk the talk, we walk the mystical walk. Tune in and transform with me. Until next time, keep your spirits high and your magic untamed.